All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to try and run through the updates from Project 1. Just as a reminder, we're looking at, so I'll jump right into publications in pipeline. So we have the Social Vulnerability Index associated with COVID-19 seroprevalence, so SARS-CoV-2 seroprevalence in Nigeria. That's currently undergoing peer review. So that's with the journal. The phylogenomic, geographical, and temporal description of COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria through the first 5 waves. The original papers that were published were really just through the first couple of waves, and we've taken it all the way out through the first 5 waves. That's also undergoing peer review right now. We're just waiting on reviewer 2 to wrap up. And then exploration of social vulnerability derived from population-based surveys. That manuscript is drafted. We're expecting journal submission by January, just after the holidays. So some of the things that we have in the pipeline right now, I'm going to move this picture of me. I don't really need to see myself. Okay. Is the impact of human mobility on the trajectory of the COVID-19 pandemic in both Nigeria and South Africa. We're doing this in collaboration with Project 2 and the DMAC. So I think it was really important to me and really important to the team that we started seeing more threads between the projects as we moved further into the later years of the Inform Africa. So this is one that's really bringing as many people together as possible. Felix, you're more than welcome if you'd like to join us as well. What we're trying to do is employ phylogenetic analysis to correlate the inferred viral movements within a country and human mobility across states and provinces. Really looking at emergence of new variants, how long it took them to spread across the country, and how long before they became the predominant variant, using the lens of mobility. And the kind of uniqueness of this is we're looking at this in 2 ways. One, we're looking at this with Delta in both South Africa and Nigeria. This was a variant that was imported into both countries. And we're also looking at variants that arose within that country. So that's looking at the Beta variant in South Africa and the Eta variant in Nigeria, which were locally arriving variants. Also looking at this through the human mobility lens, and then we are investigating how human mobility affects dominance, persistence, and replacement of the select variants. We're hoping to have that full draft by the end of March. So again, Felix, if we want to make this a full team effort, there's still plenty of time for substantive contributions. Other publications in the pipeline, looking at patterns and associations between SVI and HIV as part of Lanre's pilot project, and then patterns associated between SVI and COVID-19, again on the pilot project. These journal submissions are expected in March of 2025. Plenty of time to have them listed in any reapplication, Prof. Other contributions in the pipeline, this is specifically our collaboration with DSign, which one of the things I've appreciated most out of these meetings is the opportunity to meet other projects. And this supplement that was funded actually grew out of the Rwanda meeting. So just a year ago, and it's already well on the way. So we wrote the application together. It was awarded, and this is looking at crowdsourcing injury information. So utilizing communities, different types of people. They're looking at students. They're looking at drivers of taxis, of moto taxis, also lay healthcare workers that are in the area, to crowdsource information on injuries that are witnessed. So the beta version of the application has already been prepared. Thank you very much to Lanre and to Victoria for all of their work on that. We had the meeting with DSign yesterday where we walked through in detail some additional changes that need to be made. They're getting ready to pilot test this with 3 different groups of individuals so that they'll walk through it, make sure it's collecting the information the way they want to collect it. Their IRB is most of the way through. It's in process, so that beta testing will happen prior to the actual human subjects engagement on the street. Training workshops and products in the pipeline. So both Lanre and Christina are going to be providing a webinar on social vulnerability indices, development and utilization. So the whole point is understanding the benefit of SVI, exploring kind of the SVIs that Lanre has recently developed using publicly available data from the FIA projects. And then using the reveal tool to actually visualize and plan with the SVI. So bringing those two things together. This is exciting. This one's going to be in January, 20th of January. It's a virtual training, and this is, really targeted. How do we get governments to use and public health organizations to use these indices? So there's another in-person workshop on SVI that's going to be February in Abuja, and the target audience is the Nigerian public health officials and researchers in medical geography and disaster risk management. And that's, again, Lawal and Christina. Also be a virtual workshop on modeling, exploration, and utilization. March 17th. Did the date change? The second one's a virtual workshop, and this is looking at really like exploring and using the SVI. How do you model them? How do you use them? And the target audience is going to be public health officials across the countries from which the data was sourced. So that's the 10 countries who we use the publicly available FIA data. So what's next for the next 5 years? It's really taking a look at, the next year and hopefully the next 5 years. I know Denise is on the line. Hopefully there's another 5 years after this. But investigating the patterns and associations of SVI with other outcomes of interest. Most people have mostly forgotten about COVID, but Mpox is looming large in many places, and that's not the only pathogen that is causing concern around the world. Also looking at people living with HIV on ART treatment and viral load suppression in Nigeria with the SVI, and then extreme weather events or natural disasters, and exploring SVI and the impact of that. We will continue to collaborate with Project 2 on incorporating human mobility and the Social Vulnerability Index. We really feel like there's a very strong synergy between these two things, and at some point exploring ways where we can look at, when we look at SVI, it's the vulnerability of a community or a place, and figuring out if that vulnerability transfers when people enter those areas and if it disappears when they leave those areas. So is it really a vulnerability of place, or is it really a vulnerability of people? And that's it. I'd like to thank everybody for your time, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them at the end.